Here we are, Future Powerlifting Podcast. We got Adriana Davis, it's me, and Mike Gold, and we got Joe Borenstein on,
Nice meeting you guys. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
right? And if you want to do
So,
a little introduction,
all right. Well, my name is Joseph Borenstein. I'm a USAPL currently in the USAPL powerlifter. So far, I've only competed at 74, 75 kilos. I've recently placed second at nationals. I placed second last year or 2 years ago as well, which is crazy because I did add 60 kilos to the total and still ended up placing second. I was the third 74, 75 to ever total 800. Um, I have the highest dots, I guess, in 2023 for a junior. And I think that's all my accolades I can remember off the top of my head, or at least the ones that are worth mentioning. So yeah, that's pretty much who I am. Hopefully I can continue to grow and get on the world stage potentially. Sorry for the tornado warning on the phone. But yeah, that's basically me in a nutshell.
Okay, you know what? Let's go back a little bit, right? So you
Gotcha.
said you came in second place at back-to-back Raw Nats last year 740 and this year 800.5. So going back to last year you came in and last year was like a weird Nats because obviously Taylor had moved to the IPF and Perkins was out with injury, although he competed like 3 weeks later. So
Yeah.
that's a that's a whole nother question. But coming in last year, did you think you had a chance to win? Obviously, like you were crazy close.
So yeah, I was pretty close. So going into, I actually wasn't expected to compete at Nats at all. So the main goal was to do T Nationals, which I signed up for, and the reason to do so was because I haven't done any national meet ever before that, and T Nationals was basically my goal because it was basically my last year as a teen. I was 19 and I was like, I want to at least, represent, the teens out there and go to nationals and, put up a total. And I totaled, I think, 737 or 740. I forgot which one. I think it was just below my nationals total, my open nats total. So after I totaled 737, I looked at like my standings within the 74s. I saw Taylor wasn't there, obviously. I saw Perk wasn't there out with the hernia injury. And I was like, might as well take a shot, right? And I had people in my corner like Angelo Fortino, basically on Two White Lights, trying to advocate for me to like and trying to influence me to do open nats. And I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot, see what happens. And the main goal going into that was to place top three to get my pro card. But I had no idea I'd be that close to winning it.
and you weren't even going
Right.
to go in the first place, right?
I
After
was
T
not. I
Nationals.
couldn't even go because during that time frame, like right after T Nationals, I just moved to Orlando. So I'm from Broward County, Florida, and it's around like 3.5 hours up north from where I originally lived with my family and all. And I have to like financially support everything I do. So I was saving up a lot of money to move out, get my apartment with my girlfriend. It's not a dorm, it's like, just a regular apartment outside the city. And it's quite hefty. It's quite hefty, sum of money to like spend on moving, renting a U-Haul, buying furniture, obviously rent, down payment, security deposit, whatever. So it was a lot of expenses I had to go through just to move up here. And that was already on my mind for a year and a half. So figuring out, I was like, okay, how can I get to open nationals now? Yet I have no money, right? So I
Right. And
posted
it was
on
just
my
3 months
story.
after T
Yeah,
Nationals
it was
too.
right around the corner. And I knew I just didn't have the finances, right? And I wasn't gonna ask my parents to help me out. But I knew I had somewhat of a platform. I think I had like 2 to 3 thousand followers, and they were very supportive. Everyone was like, "Why aren't you doing that?" And I had like 20, 30 DMs. I was like, I just can't afford it, can't afford it. And then one guy was like, just started GoFundMe, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna ask the question. So I put on my story. I was like, if I started GoFundMe, would you guys support it? And I was like 90% like yes, 10% no, and the 10% were like trolls, right? And within like I put it up and like within a week or two, I got I think I hit the goal plus like $200-300 above it. And those are all people from my high school that donated. I say like 70% of it was from my high school, and then 30% was from like, my girlfriend's family members. Because they're like really, I guess, fascinated with what I do. They had no idea what powerlifting was at the time, but they just knew I lifted a lot of weight and I was young, and there was somewhat of a future in it. It's kind of crazy because like my family doesn't view powerlifting the same way they did, but I'm happy I had the support behind friends and then my girlfriend's family as well. in that situation. And then, like I said, within 2 weeks, I had the goal of, I think, was it 800 or 900, because it was at Vegas, right? And Vegas is an expensive trip. So it wasn't the same price as T Nationals. Like the whole trip, the cost, the sign up fees, and all that. It was a little more. So within like 2 weeks, like I said, I got the entire thing, I guess, paid for. I was able to, get the hotel paid for, and I was able to get the sign up fees. And then for like food and like Ubers and everything, I was able to just like, pocket that out. But yeah, that's the only reason I did it. I'm grateful for all the people that donated, and just for everyone that said like good wishes, because not everyone had the money to donate, and I was perfectly fine with that. It was more so just like getting, rallying that support behind me, and just knowing I had like a whole community behind my back.
Wow.
I'm
If I
sorry if
remember
I'm
correctly,
rambling a lot, by the way. I'm sorry if I'm rambling a lot. I think I'm talking
no,
like
no, no,
No,
no,
no,
good.
you're good.
Everyone wants to hear you talk. If I remember correctly, like a month after that, you did the pro meet with you and
yes,
Nori.
The
me
Ubu
and Dory. Yeah,
Expo
that's the only
thing,
reason.
yeah.
That was the reason I wanted the pro card so bad, because I knew there was a pro meet right next to where I was living in Orlando. And I was like, it would be crazy if I can just like win that 1250 right after becoming a pro, 1 month after nationals, 3 meets back to back to back. So I was kind of eyeballing that meet. But at the same time, that wasn't the biggest goal. Obviously, nationals was the big goal during that time frame. But yeah, I'm just happy I was able to get the pro card, and then obviously, beat Nori at that meet. He wasn't expecting me to do what I did, because I wasn't expecting to appear on my total either. But things happen, and I wouldn't go back on that.
Yeah, that was a whole interesting story. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I remember seeing at like it was like confusion who won, and then that was
Yeah, they
that was
misloaded my
crazy.
bar on the third pull, and then Nori, not knowing they misloaded it, tried to chip the dots I would have had, and he failed his, and then obviously I hit mine. Or I hit mine first, then he failed his. But if he were to chip, or if he knew the actual load on the bar and then try to chip that, he may have gotten it, but I don't know, because he went mixed grip that day. I have no idea why, but he pulled mixed grip and he blamed it on the grip. Obviously, I would have recommended switching grip meet day, but that was his choice, and I'm happy he did that. So
Hey, I
yeah.
mean, it happens where it could work. And at Worlds, not this year, the year before, Mikey Davis missed
Oh
his second
yeah.
deadlift.
Mm-hmm.
Missed his
I
second
remember that.
deadlift, went to the back, switched grip, and hit it for his third. So
Yeah,
it
I
could
remember
it could
that
work. But yeah, I agree. I wouldn't advise to change something that big on meet day for the first time.
for sure, for
But
sure.
yeah. So speaking of, you said so now you moved. Are you like what do you do? Are you in school? Are you like doing powerlifting stuff full time?
Oh, so currently I'm enrolled at UCF. So back in high school, I basically started college early, right? I started in senior year or junior year technically, and then senior year I basically enrolled to like full-time college. I got my associates. I fast tracked that basically so I can, have time, like a duration of time where I can work. And I really need that, I need that lump sum to move out, like I've been saying. So I basically took like 2 classes after my AA, just like stay in school, but also work as much as I can. And then after that, I was able to, generate the money, move up here. And then after I moved up here, I immediately transferred to UCF, and I'm pursuing a kinesiology degree under the athletic training route. This is my last year in school. So I have this semester, then summer, and then I graduate in December. So yeah, that's basically what I'm doing. And then I powerlift coach as well. I'm online coach. I have around 35, 30, I think 36 now. I just got a new athlete recently. I don't advertise my coaching a lot, because I hate when like those people, they just be like three spots left, blah blah blah. Sign up now, I'm more so just like low key with it, and like if they DM me personally, we'll have a conversation, we'll set up a call and all that. But yeah, I powerlift. I'm a coach, and then I go to school currently. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And then obviously with like your kinesiology degree, you're going to continue down that route, like in some form, whether it be like powerlifting coaching or like strength and conditioning, I assume something along those lines.
Yeah, exactly. So, obviously, you don't need to be someone with a degree to powerlift or like to coach powerlifting. That's not needed. But in my mind, I'm thinking, why not have like something to fall back on? Plus, I can use that kinesiology degree to expand my knowledge, because not every powerlifting coach has that base knowledge of just overall physiology, biomechanics, and just strength conditioning in general, right? Obviously, their goal is not to train the average gym goer. They're more specific towards powerlifting and just coaching that sport, that niche sport. But in my mind, I'm like, why not have the entire basis? Why not get all that base knowledge? Because I have a lot of powerlifting knowledge. I'd say I have more knowledge within powerlifting coaching than I do within general public coaching. And so I would like to level that up as well to equal my powerlifting knowledge, and then basically have like all the infinity stones, just like have everything.
Yeah. Speaking of coaching, do you have a coach?
So give me 1 second. So yes, I do, and his name is Luke Urkel. Um, Actually, the first time I ever heard of him was I was 17 and I totaled I think 640 at a Florida State meet during Corona, and that was actually the first meet Taylor Atwood totaled 800, and it was me and him. I
Was
actually
that the
commented
same
on one of
meet?
his posts. Yeah, it was the same exact meet. I commented under Taylor Atwood's post. I was like, "Can't wait to see you at the meet. Just don't blow me out." And he didn't even like it or anything, but all I knew that he was gonna be there. And the crazy thing was, like, he wasn't even at the session one where the 75s and below, or 74 at the time. The 74s and below usually compete session one, and then the 82s or 83s and up, they compete in session two in the afternoon. And for some reason, Atwood competed in the afternoon session, not in the morning session. I don't know why. He probably just asked the meet director if he was allowed to do that, because like who wants to wake up at 6 a.m. for weigh-ins, right? And especially for Taylor Atwood. So that regardless, that's not the point we're trying to make now. Coaching. So after that meet, one of his friends was basically, he was kind of like shit talking me in my comment section, and my coach's friend, by the way, he was shit talking me in my comment section, and then he just DM'd me saying, "I was just playing with you, don't worry, man." And then he's like, "Do you have a coach?" And I was like, "No, I'm just running this program I made myself." And it was like the 3x5, 3x3, and then singles after. And then he was like, "Let me introduce you to him. He's pretty smart." He was like 17 as well at the time, so we're the same age. And I was like, "Bet, I'll talk to him." And then he knew a lot about coaching, or at least more than I did at the time. And if you know 5% more than anyone, you seem like a genius, right? So I was like, "All right, I'm gonna trust this dude in my life." And he's like, "You don't gotta pay me or anything. You're strong. You have potential. I just want to help work with you." And I was like, "All right, let's do it." So I've been with him since I was 17, so that's 4 years. And clearly his methods have been working. He's not a full-time coach. He doesn't even coach as a job or anything. He's actually studying to become a neurosurgeon. So he's in med school right now. Super smart kid, crazy intelligent, and he just does powerlifting as a side hobby and does all the research on his end. And yeah, we bounce ideas back and forth. I don't just like listen to what he says like with the holy grail. Like I take it with a grain of salt, and we go on the phone, have a regular conversation about what I think is best, what he thinks is best, and then we just bounce ideas and come up with my programming through that. But in the past, I knew nothing. I was 17, and I was like, just teach me your ways. And then he basically gave me, the program. I'd follow it, word for word, set by set, and I'd overshoot everything because I didn't know what I was doing. But now, obviously, as I got older, I'll say around when I got to college, right? That's when I really started, studying kinesiology and just overall athletic performance, and then of course powerlifting as well, with all like the free YouTube content they have out there. With like back then, I think it was I'm trying to think, it was Candido. I know that was a big one back then. And then I think who was it? I knew all the top end coaches now were not around back then, like Swolfester and PR Performance. I'm not sure who else, but I knew Candido was like the main guy back then, and I used to like download all his free programs, look at all his YouTube videos. Jeff Nipper, there we go, Jeff Nipper. Them two together basically built my foundation of powerlifting knowledge when I was like 18. And then of course watching like all the YouTube videos of like Russell and Larry Wheels were like, huge inspirations back then when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's
that's
awesome. Like clearly your coaching relationship has with him has gone well so far, because in 3 years you put on what, like 160 kilos on your total, which
Yeah,
is
it's something
insane.
crazy. Yep.
Yeah. So we also wanted to ask how you got into the sport, because I think your breakout meet was kind of like that teen nationals meet that we were talking about earlier. Like, whoa, who's this kid totaling like almost mid 700s? This is 74. Like, where'd this guy come from? So I think there's a perception that you kind of got into the sport just recently, maybe around like 2021, 2022. But looking at your open powerlifting, that's clearly not the case because your
Correct.
first meet was in 2018. So how'd you get into the sport?
Yeah, so it probably kind of like it kind of backtracks all the way back to when I just why I started lifting in the first place.
Mhm.
So I was 14 or I was 13 and I was lifting at this Taekwondo studio. I did Taekwondo when I was little. I competed like once in like a tournament. Nothing crazy. I was like a yellow belt, but I was doing that just to, be active, have fun with my friends because my best friend at the time, we still my best friend, his dad had a studio. So he had like all the taekwondo stuff, like the bags, the gloves and all that. And then he had like one not combo, but a power rack. And I'd bench after like, after I do all my, sparring and stuff. And I was like, I'm pretty strong. I was lifting like 125 at the time. So it was nothing crazy, but in my mind, I was like, damn, I'm putting up weight. So I was like, all right, I really want to go to a gym. But at the time, you had to be, I think, 14 for the my local gym. It was an aquatic center gym. So it was just like mainly swimmers there, but they had like a deadlift platform, a bunch of power racks, benches as well, which was crazy for for a gym for swimmers. Basically, it was called the Aquatic Center, and when I was 14, so the summer going into high school, I was like, I really want to go to the gym. I want to get stronger, and specifically, I wanted to get stronger for baseball because I played baseball for 10 years. But at that time, I was playing. I don't know, I do the math, like 6 years. And I was like, I really want to be good in high school. I want to make the high school team. So I just want to get as strong as possible so I can throw hard, run fast, hit hard, and all that. And then I just started working out, and I was like I was actually working out this time, so I wasn't doing taekwondo anymore as seriously. And I was just benching a lot. I really wasn't deadlifting because I didn't want to hurt my back, so I was just deadlifting or I was just benching and squatting, and I was putting up I think like two. I think I was 14. I put up like 220 or 230 or something. And then I had a friend, well, not a friend, an acquaintance at the gym and older guy. He's like 27. He also played baseball, and he is like a big member of the USAPL Florida, and like all the judges knew him. He was pretty, I guess, popular at the time. He was 83. He totaled like 640, which was big in 2018. His name was JP as well. Not my best friend JP, but an older JP, and he basically was like, "Yo, have you tried powerlifting?" And I was like, "What's that?" So he told me about it. I researched it that night. I saw Larry Wheels. I saw Russ, and then I searched up my weight class, and I was like 158 at the time, so 74 kilo. And I was like, all right, who's in this class? And the three people I saw were Perk, Pug, oh, four, Perk, Pug, Michael, and Atwood. And I was like,
Right.
these
That was
guys,
like the golden age of the
yeah, exactly,
74s.
right. It
Yeah.
was crazy back then. So I was like, this is a real sport, right? This is like not just, some backyard thing that you just do and have fun. So I was like, these guys are competing at Worlds. I knew Perk was not that Worlds, but Perk went to, I think, the World Game Cup or whatever it was called. It was like the University
Hmm.
Cup. I saw that, and it was basically a YouTube video comparing all their top end strengths, and I was like, okay, this is cool. And they're totaling like low sevens at the time. So I was like, oh my god, I was like, this seems reasonable. Obviously, thinking about it now, they're totaling, 8, or at least Perk and Atwood totaling 8. I was like, okay. But at least back then they were not doing that. So it seemed more reasonable. And I was like, one day I want to be on that stage. I want to be doing what they're doing. I want to compete in a sport that I'm actually more talented, gifted at. And it wasn't baseball. I was better at lifting than baseball. I wasn't trash by any means. Like I made varsity and all that, but I didn't have that passion. I'd never practiced. I was just like going there and did the team practices, but I never like practiced outside besides lifting. And like I said, I just noticed I was better at that than actually, playing the sport of baseball. And at the same time, I'm like, if I'm not going to make a living out of this sport, might as well pursue something I know I'm going to be good at. And that was powerlifting. I didn't know powerlifting could be a full-time job, but I just knew it'd be something I can do after I play high school or after high school. So that's basically what I wanted to put like all my eggs into. And yeah, now I'm here.
Yeah. Here you are today after so many years. So you said your main motivation when you were starting the sport was seeing these guys like Perk and Pug and maybe even Taylor like competing at Worlds. So going into the sport, you're kind of thinking one day I can go to Worlds. So with the split and with the exodus now of people moving to powerlifting America, what was your motivation in 2023 to stay in USAPL and compete at the Arnold and at Raw Nationals? And even this year, you're planning tentatively to compete
Yeah.
at the Arnold. So, what was your motivation to stay in the USAPL versus just switch to the IPF once the split happened?
So for the original split, at least, I was only totaling like I said 730, or like I had a meet in December that time. I
Hmm.
think it was like 725 total. And at that time, that was not enough to rival Atwood. So I wasn't even thinking about, IPF. And at the same time, I'm like, I probably can, place good at nationals one day. Obviously, I wasn't thinking about doing that year's nationals, but I was like, one day I can do, place at USAPL Nats, like, maybe potentially win it. And I think winning USAPL Nats was better than winning or coming in second to Atwood, because there was like no competition at that meet. So I was like, all right, I'll stick USAPL this first year. Worked out great, got the pro card and all. And then last year, 2023. Um, I put a bunch of polls on my story. I just want to see what people thought. And it was more so just like going against Atwood and trying to, go for that world spot, which I still believe I wasn't capable of because Taylor was, still at 800 and I was still, mid sevens. And I was like, I just can't rival him still. And I was like, all right, I'll wait one more year. Clearly it's too late now. Perk is doing it, and I can't wait that extra year. And plus, I got him too big to the point where cutting down to 74, not even 75, but or not even 75, 74 would be like the extra kilo is gonna pretty much like wreck me, and I would not want to do that. But that's the reason I stayed USAPL, because I didn't believe I could rival Atwood. And if I couldn't beat Atwood and go to Worlds, what was the point of going PA? They didn't have anything to offer at the time, especially when the only meet was PA NAS and there was like 20 people doing it. Versus now it's actually becoming a big thing. IPF has Sheffield now. IPF, they're going to World Games. They're trying to do all these great things with like do the regional meets like NAPF, Euros, and Asians. But yeah, that's pretty much why I stayed. Obviously, the money incentive was pretty big for the pro series, especially as a college student that doesn't make too much money. I don't try to expand my roster to the size where I can't handle it. I just have a very small roster, and I like to just do my day-to-day tasks, still go to school, and just have enough time for everyone, especially like my girlfriend as well. I can't just consume myself all in work. I still have time for her. She helps me stay grounded, and yeah, it just helps me stay like helps me keep a balanced life basically. So I don't want to be like all in on one thing. I rather have like a little bit of time for friends and family, and of course, like, just leisure activities as well.
So speaking of, like, you were saying the competition and that, like, at that point you didn't think you could beat Atwood. So I was wondering because it's been more recently that a lot of the top junior lifters, like the ones who are competitive in the open, like have stopped like having interest in like junior worlds or something like that. Like when you started looking into it, you saw Taylor, you saw Perk, you saw Michael and Pug, right? So like I know that that year Perk did the University Cup, whatever it was, and then Michael and Pug both did Junior Worlds.
Yeah.
Like, do you have like? I mean, at this point, do you have any interest in Junior Worlds, or that would be meaningless to you?
So I would have interest in doing Junior Worlds simply to get that international experience, but it doesn't hold nearly the value as an open world championship would. Of course, it does hold some. It's a main goal for many junior lifters in the world. I'm not trying to belittle it, but just based off, previous world totals, based off the total 83 kilo world record, it's like 813 by Haack and it hasn't been beaten since I think 2016. So thinking of it like in the grand scheme of things, obviously, the international stage is a little different, but if I moved up a weight class, I'm 100% certain that the 813 it's falling pretty easily. So it's not like there's no huge incentive to do worlds besides just gaining the experience and using it as a stepping stone to do open worlds in 2025.
Right. And you're
Okay.
fully set on going 83 kilos, right?
Yeah, I can't go, especially with I do plan on switching over at some point within this year, and there's no way I'm going 74. I can't make that cut. I'm 5'8", and I'm already right at this moment I'm 175, so
Right.
making
I
that
mean,
cut
just
hard.
yeah, just looking at your open powerlifting, you've literally stayed in the same weight class since you were 15,
Yeah, and
which is
I grew 4 inches since I was 15, so staying in the same
wow.
weight class
Yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah. So
So
speaking of your plan to switch over to PA eventually, do you think with the recent Arnold news that that might be sooner rather than later? Like, what's kind of your thoughts on the recent emails that the USAPL has sent? And like, are you considering going to Open Powerlifting America Nationals or even like Junior Nationals in May? Or are you kind of set on doing the Pro Series finals, wherever it is?
All right, so a lot of things have to be announced first. I have no idea what's happening with the Arnolds. All I do know is that they got booted out their little part of the venue for weightlifting, which was kind of sad to see. But they may change the area in the venue, like where they're going to be performing it, or they may just go to a whole different venue, like a hotel or something, which I hope they do, so I can just like book at the hotel. That's the where the
Right.
venue is.
So were they booked out of the C pod
Yeah, they're
or
booted out of
booted?
the
I
seat.
mean, yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah,
And just for the listeners, this is like very recent news. So the USAPL sent out an email to all of the Arnold competitors, basically stating that with expos like the Arnold and the Olympia, it's kind of like finicky, like how do I Mike, can you help me? Like
you're
what
right. No, you're right. It's like
yeah,
they're not prioritizing them as a federation and more so trying to prioritize like just revenue income. They rather just jam as
right. Like it's all
many
about the
as
money.
possible. Yeah, they're trying to put as many people in one little area as possible and just generate as much money as they can rather than having a good experience for the lifters. And
Right.
that's the USAPL's fault. That's the Expo's fault that's forcing them
Yeah.
into that situation.
Yeah. But it kind of puts this like tough situation on the USAPL because everyone's kind of comparing like Arnold Pro Series versus what IPF has to offer, like Sheffield and Worlds. So of course it's not the USAPL's fault, but it's kind of just a just
Yeah,
tough
it's not a good
situation.
light.
Yeah.
That's not good. It's not a good light on USAPL for sure.
Yeah.
But I hopefully they can figure something out. Because I would still like to compete at the Arnold because I'm not sure if they announced it yet or I know they didn't announce it on their page publicly, but it's already been like out there on certain podcasts like Two White Lights, and they did announce that the prize money for first place was $20,000. So that was a huge incentive for me to stay. And with certain changes of certain people being in charge of that, stepping down and all, and I personally heard it from them themselves that was 20,000. And then after them stepping down, I can't really put my trust in the federation to stick through with that 20,000. So hopefully they announce the prize money soon. Hopefully they announce the venue soon. But if we don't hear back from them, like I'd say within the next couple of weeks, at least before it's too late, then I'll probably I'm trying to think. I would like to stay, but just based off principle and how they're treating us, I think like definitely after this probably my if I were to do it, this would be my last USAPL meet for sure. And then I'll probably do junior nats to do junior worlds, and then hopefully get into the IPF ecosystem.
Is this mainly just because like the competition is moving to the IPF and like obviously like your biggest direct competition right now, like if it was at 74, 75 would be Perk, and then at 83 would be Ross. So and they're all going to be in the IPF, or is it just like the direction that the USAPL is moving in? Like USAPL can't control who goes to the IPF, but they could control like how they format their pro series. Like I think I'm not the only one who's saying this, but it's been kind of disappointing. Like they announced it and it sounded cool and how everything was going to be done, and like they've put really very little focus on it since then. Like, I mean, if they do give out the prize pool that like people were talking about, right? Like $20,000, that's I believe the same as what Sheffield first place is. So it's a lot of money. But in terms of like just the other pro meets and the focus and everything, like it hasn't really been there.
Right.
So
Right.
is
It's
Yeah.
been
that
more so focused on like the World Cup or like a kind of a mix
The
between like,
international scene.
yeah, kind of a mix between the Open World Cup, which I think has like 35 people signed up for something,
I know. Like,
and
I
the
wish they
Arnold.
just yeah, I wish they just focused it like all on pro series and made it almost like the NBA, right? The NBA, we called it's international simply because people from different countries, the best players from different countries, go to that federation, that league, right? And I wish USAPL went that route rather than try to make USAPL Korea. Like, how are you the United States powerlifting Korea? Like that doesn't really it doesn't have a good ring, first of all, and it doesn't make any sense, right? So I wish they just, went all in on the pro series, didn't make it so difficult for people, for example, like Rondell to want to lift there. They just made it more accessible and not more like so like gimmicky, I'd say, with the World
Mhm.
Cup and everything, trying to replace IPF and their international bodies. Because you can't replace an international body like the IPF. They're so set in stone and dug into people's like hearts basically because there's a big amount of prestige going on the world stage, right? Because you're competing against the best in the world. You're representing your country. And with IPF or with USAPL, there's no there's no honor, I'd say, because you can't represent your country there. You are in the US, right? It's just you versus your own people. But if they just made it more so, like I said, just like a professional league and just branching out, maybe doing pro meets in different countries, but not as like a pro qualifier, but like having their finals at that country, or let's say having having a structure to climb to the finals, not just doing one meet and qualifying, more so like it could be like a bi-yearly thing as well. You can do like you have to place this meet to qualify for that meet, and then that third meet there. So you're not doing 3 meets within 1 year. You can do like 3 meets within 2 years. But I'm not sure. I'm not too deep into the thoughts of USAPL's Pro Series at the moment. I'm just like, you know what, they did their thing. I saw their true colors basically and what their intentions were, and I was like, I don't really follow I don't agree with the path they're following, and I think IPF, like, it was always a dream, like I said, even when I was starting out, like to compete on that world stage. And now that all the best lifters in the world are going there now, like from the US at least, like Perk, who Bob, Ash, if since all of them are leaving, now UCPL really doesn't have that same notoriety and prestige as they once had, because winning this last year's nationals, if I won that against Perk, I think that's worth more than a world championship, right? But now no one's going to be there, and I'm like, it's why go in and get like a fake trophy, like a participation trophy? And I'd rather just compete against the best, and not like call it duck the smoke almost, and really try to prove my worth against these top level lifters around the planet.
So speaking of like fake trophies and stuff, obviously this is not a fake trophy, but what do you think about like the whole idea that this past year, obviously with Taylor being like coming in a little injured, not having his best performance, so Cali won the 74s with I think it was 778, and then you go in total 800, but like everyone talks about, well, I mean, it's two things, right? So you total 800, but you're also at the same meet where Perk totals 851.
Yeah,
So it's like you don't get your justice in terms of like people talking about you, even though you like beat what won worlds by a lot, because you also like were in the same meet as somebody who put up like arguably the greatest performance ever.
correct. Yeah.
So I'm saying, how do you view that? Like you obviously you said you're going to be moving up to 83, so it's not really, I don't think Perk or Cali are really your competition at the moment, but like, is your goal, like, do you want to be the strongest 83 in the world? Obviously that is also true. Would you care more about having the biggest total or winning the world championships?
So I think it's one and the same. If you do the biggest total at Worlds, you're gonna win the world championship, right? So my goal is to place the biggest total on that world stage, because I want to win Worlds. I want to get to that stage. I believe that by the time Worlds rolls around, I'll have enough time to fully fill out this class, and that will be my strongest form, basically. So it's kind of one and the same. But if you're asking like a situation where, let's say, for example, like an 830 total with no world championship, or an 810 total with the world championship, I'm taking the 810 with the world championship. But at the same time, like, going back to at least the Cali situation, um, he I think his performance was better simply because he left kilos in the tank on his deadlift. He was capable of 785 that day. He weighed under 74. He traveled to worlds. He had world judges. So I can't really say that my performance was better, just because I totaled like over the 800. It doesn't mean much when I have nothing to show for it, especially since I came in second. Like, if I won that, maybe I would think a little more highly of my performance. I still do. I think I did good, right? I don't think I did bad by any means. But me coming in second, and then having home ground advantage, you can call it. Those definitely make a slight difference. Not the way like people really think about it. I'm thinking like 1% at most, but that 1% adds up when you're totally near 800, right? So yeah, I think Cali deserves the not the fame. I won't call it fame because we're not famous, but he deserves the clout. He deserves the prestige and notoriety of winning a world championship and beating the goat. And then Perk, on the other hand, being shadowed by him makes sense. He told 850. Like, I can't be mad. Um, so yeah, all flowers to both of them. Obviously, I believe Perk's performance was better, even though he didn't win the worlds. But still, both of them, I would say, at least for sure, Perk, his performance definitely deserves way more clout than mine. And then Callie, I'd say either on par or greater for sure than what I put up.
So watching Callie's performance at Worlds last year, where he totaled 778, knowing that you had already totaled 780, I think at a local meet in
Yeah.
December in 2022, were you feeling a sort of like FOMO or man, like if I had been there, I potentially could have won? Like not saying you would have beat Callie or Taylor or Tim, but having that opportunity, did you feel a sort of FOMO there or like you were missing out that kind of drives you to switching to Powerlifting America this year?
Looking at it like now, yeah. At the time, no. But yeah, definitely now I'm like I should have at least signed up for PA Nats and try to get my world spot because that was the year Atwood went to Sheffield and he
Mhm.
did sign up for PLA Nats. He didn't go. He just had his name on the roster. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna try to rival Atwood right now. He just totaled like 790 at Worlds at RP like 6. So I was like, all right. I was like, you're probably good for like 830, man. Like no point in even trying to go against you right now. I'd rather, try to rival the best USAPL competitors by dots. And that was right before the first year of the finale. And I was in the warm-up room. It was crazy to see all these legends, you can call them, in the same, on the
At
same
the
platform
Arnold finale, right?
at the Arnold finale. And I was talking to everyone, and everyone there was super optimistic. We're talking about like how this is the big thing. This is better than Sheffield and everything. We're all just like talking big game about USAPL. Looking at it now, it's kind of sad, but back then, all of us are like, "Yo, this is the best next thing, or this is the best thing," and Sheffield's the next best thing.
Because I
And
think Sheffield was like the week after or something, right?
yeah, it's right next to each other. I don't know the exact dates, but they were like coinciding, like a couple weeks apart. And yeah, so in the warm up room, I was like, you know what, this is the route to stay. I don't care about no Sheffield, screw that. But yeah, looking at it now, where I could have done PA Nats, potentially total more than what Atwood did at Sheffield, or I think at the time it was like first spot to Worlds was hit the Carpino one and then win your weight class. It wasn't more so out totaling the Sheffield opponent, you can call it. So out totaling Outwood's performance.
Hmm.
So I believe I could have hit the Carpino one, obviously, and then I would have had that world spot and potentially not win, but at least podium at Worlds. In my mind, I think I would have won, but
At least have the opportunity.
yeah, it's all right though. You know what? I can't live in regret. I'm happy with my decisions because it led to where I am now, so I can't be too upset.
Hey, listen, I mean, I was looking at the Pro Series finale roster, and Daniel Clements is not on it. So it's you and Keenan are like the two people that are like in those upper like 575, 80 dots range. So I mean, if you take home a 20K check, it'll be worth pushing off the IPF for 1 year.
I mean,
So
hopefully,
I mean, listen, you're young. You're not just a junior, but you still got years as a junior. So,
yeah.
and you said the route now is at 83. So like what would you say your goals for 2024 are?
So, as it stands now, win the Arnold, take home that fat check, and then go to PA Nats, get my world spot, win worlds, and put up a total that would rival the Open championship.
So you're talking
So
about going to junior nats, right? And
yeah, I'll
then
have to go to junior
eventually
nats and
junior
then go to
worlds.
junior worlds. And since junior worlds is in September, open worlds is in I think
I think
June.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
So my goal would be to maybe beat the total of whoever won worlds would be. Hopefully that's Russ because that'll give me a lot more notoriety. Because beating a Russ record would just sound a lot better than not saying Angelo or Delaney don't have prestige of their name, but Russ is a whole different conversation and has a lot more eyes on him. So if I'm able to like beat his record at a junior stage, that would be pretty nice for me. So
Right.
I mean,
If
to be
the
honest,
Arnold were, wait, you go ahead.
yeah, I would say obviously like beating Russ's total and record would be like pretty crazy, and like it's happened very few times. Like the one time I remember because I've heard on podcasts a billion times is that Rondell in the juniors at 105 like beat what won the open worlds, but almost never does that happen where there's a bigger total at junior worlds. But even without that, you were talking about the 813 from Haack. Like that stood for a while, and like nobody's really even come close. Like nobody's hit 800 even. So like to beat that in itself, like obviously that reasonably should be very much there, right? Like 13 kilos on your
Yeah,
total while moving up a full weight class is obviously like something that you would expect even more. But I'm saying even just that, like there are not a lot of records in powerlifting that stand for more than a couple of years. Like I look all the time just at like just for fun. Like I look at like previous records and just see like how long. Like the only one now that I could think of in any weight class that's been around for more than like 2 or 3 years is like still Jesse Norris by far at 93 in the open. And like everything else has been set in like the last 2 or 3 years. So
yeah,
like taking an 8-year-old record from the guy who, I mean, first won IPF Worlds and then went on to become like on the non-natty side, like the greatest powerlifter ever. I think most people at this point would say. So I
100%.
think that would be a pretty big accomplishment in itself.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, I believe I think I can total 813 right now. So like, and I'm not even filled out yet. So I think by then for sure, I'd want to beat that within like, my first and second attempts and then rival whoever comes out of the classic worlds. And then hopefully, I have big goals ahead. So I don't want to like get carried away, but hopefully that total would give me a wild card spot to 2025 Sheffield, which would be the biggest thing on my mind. I've been in touch with people behind the scenes. I'm saying like I'm asking questions. I'm like, do they extend invites to juniors? And could it work that way? Like I feel like they would have to, right? Like if you total more than
If
the
you
open,
totaled like 850 or something, then
they
Yeah,
would
I
have
mean,
to invite
probably
you.
so.
so it's tough because like if you look at the qualifications, I mean they could change each year. Like
Yeah,
SPD doesn't have to keep them the same, but the way it works now, at least for this past year, so let's just assume that'll be the same next year, is besides for all the automatic invites, so they gave one automatic second place finisher at Worlds an invite, and then there's like the regional invites. So
yeah,
there really are not so many wild cards. But I would think
I
I
think
would
this
think
year
that
there was
like
only one, like after you did the second place and then the regional for the men's
right,
side. I think there
it
was
was
only
just
one.
one, just Gavin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was the only one. So yeah, I mean, obviously the person to ask here would be Pete Spence.
yeah.
He's the one who knows everything, and I don't know if he himself makes a decision, but if he doesn't make it, he knows who does, and he knows how it's done. So he's the right person to ask. But I mean, I would imagine, like, also Junior Worlds obviously is a regular international meet, so you wouldn't just beat the total; like you would actually officially have the world record total.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to be in the same situation as like Shell Backlund, for example, because I know he just broke the record, but like that was months after they gave out the wild card spots. And Junior
Mhm.
World is like only what 2 to 3 months after Open Worlds. So I'm
Right.
hoping close enough to the point where like they can hold off on those wild cards and maybe look at like or hold off for at least like for Euros or whatever big meets after that. Because I know like 2 years ago, for example, Leah got a wild card spot from her Arnold performance. So I'm hoping I can get that
And
same
also
scenario.
Carlina.
Yeah, that her.
Carlina got one from her Commonwealths, which was also like the same time. So yeah, it's definitely I think meaning Junior Worlds is end of August, beginning of September. So by then, I assume if they're doing it the same way, then that would be counted into the Sheffield invitations.
Yep, exactly. And I guess I have to put up a total to like force them to do it then, and hopefully and just wait and see, man.
So here's another question. Powerlifting America put out like I mean it's not so recent now, but maybe like 2 months ago or a month ago, they put out like their qualifications for who makes the world team.
Hmm.
And they changed it from last year. Personally, I liked how they did it last year, where you had to have 95% to get the spot, the auto spot. Now they changed that to, I believe it's like 75% or maybe 80, I think it's 85% or something. But basically something that every weight class will automatically hit,
Yep.
which means that there's effectively impossible to double up. Like
Correct.
unless somebody pulls out,
Like
which
nearly
does happen.
impossible.
So people know people do pull out. Like I know, like Ellis McLean won back-to-back world championships at 93. Both times he got a spot because somebody pulled out and he was an alternate. So like it does happen, but it's impossible to get a guaranteed spot. So what do you think about that? It's just like 85% seems like a pretty low qualification. Like that for like reference, that would be like totaling like in the mid sevens for 83. Like
It would be
that's
715. for the
7:15,
86.
right? That's just. What do you think about how they're doing it?
I mean, it doesn't make too much sense based off like such a low qualifying total, you can call it. But at the same time, we know everyone going there is gonna, supersede that by a lot. They're probably gonna get the record or come within 95% anyways. So it doesn't really make too much of a difference. Every weight class is pulled out from Wascar all the way to Jesus.
Mhm.
Versus like last year, I think we didn't have a 120 that went. But now Bob is that 120. He's like 109. He's barely 120. So
Also,
yeah,
don't forget, there's also Devin Williams, 120.
oh yeah,
His best total is only like I think 5 or 7 kilos under Bob. So like it's actually, I mean, obviously Bob had more. He took a massive jump to
yeah.
try to win, but like he's close. So yeah, I mean, every that is true. So I guess the truth is on the men's side, it probably won't affect anything because the winners would probably all hit the 95%. Okay, that's
Exactly.
valid.
So there's not much thought behind or not much deeper thought behind that because it's not going to affect much. And I believe like the team we're going to make or the team coming out of the U.S. is gonna hopefully because just to represent the U.S. and just to back them up. Hopefully they're gonna clean sweep the world stage out there. So and based off their performances and recent numbers, I think we have a good chance of doing that.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. So then, okay, so we got win the Arnold Pro Finals. Then we got just go to junior nationals, and that could be I assume you would have to do just some sort of local meet first, just like technically qualify. Like there's no total, I don't think, but I think you just have to do
Like you
80.
just have to
So
do the bar or like
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I already got that planned out. There's a gym like 10 minutes away from where I live. I'm just gonna sign up, do the bar, and then lift afterwards. So
right.
I'm
Okay,
not actually lifting at that meet. Yeah,
fine. So then you got junior nationals and then junior world. So I guess that would be the schedule. It would be those three meets.
correct. Yes.
Here's the
Okay.
question regarding that schedule. If the Arnold were to be canceled or the payouts were to be significantly lower than you thought, or some kind of weird thing that makes you say, I don't really want to do it, would you sign up for Powerlifting America Nationals, Open Nationals, to potentially punch your ticket to Worlds to go against Angelo, against Russ?
I
And
mean, if I find out very soon, 100%, yeah. But like, if I'm like 2 weeks out and they cancel that thing, I'm like, I would say
right,
too.
right, right.
Yeah.
If you found out soon.
If I found out within, I'd say within the rest of this block because I only have 2 blocks left, so I can adjust training slightly to make up for the extra 2 weeks. But I'd say my block ends next week. So by next Friday, if I don't find some, or yeah, by next Friday, if they cancel it, I'll for sure find a meet to do prior to qualify for PA Nats Open. Yeah.
Awesome.
And that would be an
Awesome.
83.
83. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. What are your goals past 2024?
Past 2024, that's pretty far ahead. At this point, I would think I'd be strong enough to just, go open and just leave junior to the side. Obviously, junior will always be there for me for at least 2 more years, right? Because I'm still only 21, so I have time on my side. But hopefully by then I'll be able to represent Team USA on the Open World Stage, and then really try to make that Sheffield spot from there. Obviously, I know World Games is next year, but based off the criteria selection, the only way to get that invite would to be like to place top 3 in your weight class. I'm still asking questions outside and seeing if like they'll still invite a junior. So I'll let you guys know if they hit me up and say if you total this weight, we'll let you slide at World Games. But I know that's in 2025 in China, so that'll be a
So
huge goal of mine.
So the truth is, I was actually discussing this in Malta about World Games. So if I understood correctly, which I'm not 100% sure I am, so top three gets an auto spot to World
Yeah,
Games, but in reality, there's really four per weight class that are going to World Games,
you get
which
the
means
regional spot as well too.
so right, but there's not necessarily. I mean, we don't know how many regions won't be automatically represented. So there will be spots that will be on some sort of like that will be given out somehow. And unlike Sheffield, where SBD is like, I mean, SBD runs Sheffield, they choose.
Yeah,
This is not run by SBD, it's the IPF. So I don't know how they're going to do it. Like somebody was saying that after the regional things, maybe it would just go to the fourth place finishers, but maybe it's possible that they would look into like the highest, just the next highest like total, like
Yeah.
meaning regardless from world, like from an international, whether it be like Euros, Junior Worlds, NAPFs, whatever. So like it's always like it is a possibility that your total at Junior Worlds would actually be relevant for World Games, and I mean that would be cool because World Games seems like it's going to
Exactly.
be absolutely insane.
I just have to prove my worth at the junior worlds then, and just pray that they'll just let me slide, make that exception for me, because obviously, like, if I'm rivaling that record, it just makes sense to like put me in there and try to like represent IPF and have a good product, right? It's a benefit for me and them. Like, they get to have a lifter demonstrate what their federation's all about on an international stage, something greater than IPF Worlds. So it just makes sense for both parties. Obviously I want to be there, and obviously they want a good product to demonstrate to the world. So yeah, it just makes sense.
Who would you view as like your biggest rival right now? Like it could be whatever. It could be in your weight class. It could be not in your weight class. However you view it.
I'd say probably Lucky. So Alex Luckow, simply because he's same weight class, a year older than me. So we're both juniors. He's ascending pretty quickly as well. And if he were to do PA Nats, I feel like he'd be a close second behind Russ, because the way he's progressing in the gym right now, it's like almost like
Right.
newbie gains. It's kind of crazy. So I'm like, he just totaled 785 for triples. He just posted it a second ago, right before I hopped on this call. I looked at it and commented, and that's huge. So I'm like, all right, he's the next guy up, and I have to beat him to that spot.
I think he even totaled like 830 in the gym, right? Like
Yeah, he did. He
relatively
did 830 in
recently.
the gym.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
75 for triples does come out to like an estimated 1 RM. That's a little higher. I'm not sure. You can do the math on your end.
Yeah.
In my
No, no,
mind, I'm
no.
like 785 for triples, or for triples, is kind of crazy. So,
Do we know if he's switching to PA, like
well, he
doing
signed up
He's
for the
open?
on.
Arnold.
Oh, he
Yeah, he's
signed up
on the
for the
Arnold
Arnold.
roster as of now.
Okay, so
Mhm.
he's kind of in the same boat as you.
Yeah, we
Right.
both talked about it. We have no idea what's happening with USAPL. So, um, if the ship sinks, then we're just gonna make the switch like right now.
I mean,
Right.
the truth is, not that I actually asked him this directly, but from like everything he's posted over the last year and so, he's also somebody who doesn't really care that much like about like the junior world, junior titles. But the way like the junior worlds team goes for Powerlifting America, there will be double ups. So like
Yeah, yeah,
if you guys both okay, you both do the pro series, let's say you come first, third, whatever, like you win, he comes third, whatever, you both take home a check. You can both do junior nationals, make the junior worlds team, and then you can both battle it out to try to take like that the same thing that you want. Like that's actually a good. I did not think of it. Like obviously, at first I was first thinking like along the 74. So I was like thinking like, okay, you have Callie who's still a junior, or you got like Perk who like whatever. I'm like, who's the answer? But that's a good answer that I did not think of because I didn't know you were moving up immediately.
yeah. We
So
actually talked about that same scenario, because we know there's that one extra wild card spot, and I'm not even sure like they're gonna invite a lifter from each weight class at junior nats. So we talked about it. The first I guess scenario, we said we'll just both go, and one of us will get the wild card or the alternate, and or Lucky would go like 83.1 or something and goes at 93, because he'd have the capability of winning that as well. But personally, me, I like to go head to head with him. Obviously, like if you went 83.1, I'd still consider head to head. But just like it would just be cooler to know that someone got the alternate and someone actually got the real spot. So
by the way, if you want to hear like a funny story about like the 83.1, like that kind of head to head, last year at Junior Worlds in Turkey, not this past year, the year before. So we had 105 and 120. So uh, Anthony, Anthony McDouble, um, Anthony McNaughton.
McNaughton.
I've seen him in King of the Lifts, but that's about it. I don't follow
Okay.
him. But
So
I
okay, so he had the 105 spot, and then Yaya had the 120 spot. And yeah, he was like light, like he weighed in at PA Nats at like 108. He battled Grant Iverson. He beat
yeah.
Grant. Yeah. So when it came to that was at PA Nats at Junior Nats, and then at Junior Worlds, like a few days out, like they were weighing each other. They were weighing themselves like to see like whatever cutting, whatever. Like yeah, I didn't have to cut. And Yaya, the 120 was lighter than Anthony. So our 105 was heavier than our 120.
That's crazy. I
Yeah,
like
so
that.
that was a pretty funny story. But yeah, I mean, obviously, right, 83.1 versus 83 doesn't matter. But I was wondering because like I know Lucky was a 74 in the past and then he went up to 83, but like I was thinking that he looks like somebody who might like move up another weight class like kind of soon. So I don't know
Yeah.
how long like yeah, I don't know how long he would stay in the 83s.
I
Like
mean,
have
we
it
talked about it. I don't want to give his plans away or anything, but he said both scenarios are within his grasp, right? He believes that like, as 83, he can potentially go to Worlds, win Worlds, but also at 93, he feels like he can fill out. So I don't know which one he's siding on. I'm not in his brain, right? But we've talked about both scenarios and it makes sense both ways because he is getting bigger. He's like, he's not a small 83 anymore by any means versus we're like me, I'm 3-4 kilos under the class, so I still got a lot of room to grow. But yeah, him on the other hand, he's already like maxed out or not near. Or he's not. I'd say maxed out. Yeah, he can still get a little bit leaner here and there. Everyone can, right? But yeah, he's pretty much near the cap. But with a little bit of diet changing and all that, you can kind of force yourself into any class. So
I mean, to be honest, like if you look at the numbers now that the 74 is like Perk's done what he's done, like let's just assume obviously there's no guarantee he could replicate that like at Worlds. I mean, maybe he could do more, like he had more in tank, but
yeah,
the point is that like the best 74 right now and the best 93 are only separated by like 35 kilos. So like moving up a weight class, like it used to be the best 74 and 83 were separated by like more than that. Now two weight classes up and it's less. So like if you're getting close to that cap, like to be able to put on another 9 kilos or 10 kilos of body weight, like is definitely worth it because it's not like you need to put on 60 kilos to your total to be the same competitive. It's like you only have to put on like another 20 kilos while getting 10 kilos of body weight. So
makes sense. Yeah, for him it makes sense. My mind is still like to fill out 83s, of course, but like I want to be the best 83, but I also want to rival whatever Perk does at 74 for like on a good look or not good looks, good look points, right? So that's what it's called,
Hmm.
good,
and I
good lift. Yeah.
good lift points. So I want to have at least a good lift point or a dot point that rivals Perk as an 83. So I'm not sure what that is. I think it's like an 890 or something crazy, maybe 900. But one day, hopefully, when I'm like, older, not a junior anymore, like 25, 26, I'll be up in that level. And by then the 93s are not going to be at the 880 mark anymore. They're going to be like mid nines or something crazy. Because as a sport, powerlifting's evolving. So I doubt that the my goals that I have now in my head, they won't seem as ridiculous by the time I get there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it leads me back to something you said right at the beginning. When you said you commented on Taylor's post when you were like totaling 640, how like you just don't want that would have been one of the most legendary comments of all time if you were like, like those kids who always will post under like Ross or all or any like big name lifter in the post, like I'm coming for you, and it's like
Yeah,
super cringy. But
yeah,
like if you had posted that and then like screenshot it and then like after you totaled 800 this year, like just shared it, that would have been one of the most legendary comments ever.
should
I
have. No,
honestly might try to
nice
find it after this.
I'm usually nice in the comment sections. I like to be a little more humble, so I'm like, I just don't blow me out of the water too much or something along those lines. It was his last, I think the last SBD before that meet. So if you can find it, that'd be great. My coach actually sent it to me not too long ago. I got a new phone, so I can't even pull up the picture anymore. But he showed it to me, and we're just laughing about it. But yeah, I should have called him out or something and be like, I'm coming for you, or I'll total you one day, or something crazy.
Well, I mean, you definitely shouldn't have, but like it would have been funny if you did.
Yeah, okay. I'll take that side then.
Okay, fine. Anyway, so yeah, we basically went over most of the questions we had. So, do you have any like sponsors or anything you want to shout out?
I'm actually not sponsored by anyone. No equipment,
Wow.
no apparel, no supplement, nothing. So shout out my girlfriend Jade if she listens to this. Shout out to you guys for inviting me, I guess.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
Your
Yeah, this is
coach, shout out your coach.
my coach, yeah, Luke, and all the gym goers at my gym at the gym downtown Orlando. Nice little place. The owner is great. Love him. Super supportive. He actually flew out to the Arnold to watch me. So great man. He's probably gonna do it again this year. And yeah, just I want to shout out everyone that's, in my corner and that supports me for what I do and just accepts me for who I am.
Yeah, I would say right now is the time where we just got to call out all these companies and every other media and everything. Like, this is ridiculous. We have the third person ever to total 800 at 75, the third highest dots of any junior ever.
No
Let's start
sponsor.
hitting him up with sponsorships,
First
podcasts. Like,
interview ever.
yeah, this is
All
kind of
right.
crazy.
Well,
Hopefully, I actually really want the SBD sponsorship because that's like the Nike of powerlifting. But I feel like if I reach out to like, Stoic or something, not to like bash them, I wear Stoics. All right. So I love Stoic as a company, but like, SBD has like the highest incentive to be with them, in my opinion. It's just like, the SBD, it's the Nike of powerlifting. So if I win Worlds, hopefully they'll reach out and offer
You
me
get
a
a,
right.
you get
Hopefully
an auto.
2024, you'll get a lot more
If you
notoriety.
win worlds, you generally get an auto SBD sponsorship.
perfect then. I gotta be lucky for that spot, then. We'll hopefully get it.
Yeah, and then where can anyone reach out to you for coaching?
So my Instagram page, it's joe.borenstein, just my name. In that bio, I have a link to my website, and you can see everything from like my comp tees that I sell, which I just sell for the price I buy it for. It's almost like free advertisement, right? Having like your comp tee on everyone's body, right? So I sell the comp tees there, and then as well, there's a Google form link. You just gotta fill that out. At the moment, I'm very selective of who I pick up. I have like 2 to 3 spots, like a legit 2 to 3 spots. Maybe not even like I have like a lot of people that inquire, and I just have to like turn them down if we don't have like a good fit or something. But yeah, I'm not like accepting athletes, but you can still fill it out if you feel like you have a good chance of me like looking into you, setting up a call and all that. Because I'm very selective. I'm looking for athletes that have the passion to do this. You really want to have like aspirations to compete on a high level and not more so just like an average gym goer, right? Because of course I do have a lot of athletes that are like that and I love them, good friends, love them all. But at this point in my career as a coach, I would like to focus more so on high level athletes, at least on the national and potentially world level stage, because I do have some athletes that are fighting for that junior world spot at 74. So shout out to Kane. He's coming up. He's totaling, low sevens. Hopefully I can get him on that world
Wow.
stage and he'll come to worlds with me. And yeah, those are the athletes I'm looking for, but don't feel shy to just reach out and everyone just, I'll take a look at it. We can talk, have a conversation, have a phone call. And if you're the right fit, if you can influence me and you like what I offer and I like what you offer, and it seems like a good bond and a good relationship, then we can totally get to work.
Right.
Okay, thank you very
Awesome.
much.
Thank you for
Yes.
coming on and good luck at Arnold's or PA Nats or whatever
Yeah,
is
whatever happens in the next couple of weeks, I'll let you, or you guys will know. I'll post it on my story. Like within
right.
2
Yeah.
We'll
weeks,
be
I'd
on the
say.
lookout.
Yeah, if I don't say anything, then I'm just sticking to the Arnold plan. If I say something, then you'll know what I'm doing then. All right.
Right.
Are you going to try to stay at 75 for the Arnold, or it doesn't really matter because dots, like, you can
It's
probably
just
do the
dot
most.
space. So I am gonna cut, probably like a gut cut or something, get as close as I can to that 75. So like 78-ish, 79-ish. But making the cut all the way back down again is like I don't have
Now
the
you're
zeal
done with that.
anymore. And I feel like I can put up a good dots, or at least I can PR my dots. And if I just PR the dots, I feel like I have a really good chance of winning.
Right. No, that's for sure.
Yeah. So
And you
Awesome.
that's
cut, you come in with the highest dots, so
yep, exactly. I know
Yeah.
Keenan, I think Keenan put up a dots a while ago, like 2 years ago. It was like 580 something. So technically he
oh,
has the
but he
higher
was
dots.
but he was lighter then, so he's not. I mean, I think you're talking about the meet that he did against Ashton in Korea,
It could be,
but
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was like 101 then, and he was like 106 at Nat. So I doubt he's at that same, like, he's not cutting, like, so I mean, yeah, I doubt
I
I
feel like
doubt that.
I'd cut for $20,000. I feel like he should
Right,
too.
that's true. That's true. But
So
yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
we'll see. It depends on like what he's weighing on the day. I'll know the numbers by then. It all comes down to the last pull. Too bad I don't have the last answer. Only he does. He can put whatever he needs to win it. So I'm just hoping I'm gonna put like a high enough number out there for him to overreach and not win because I'm not praying on his downfall. I don't pray on any of my competitors' downfall, but at the same time, I'm like, I still want 20,000. Like it's $20,000.
listen, for
Yeah, like
twenty thousand dollars,
if he drops
for
the
twenty
last
thousand
deadlift, you're not
dollars,
gonna be mad.
Oh
yeah,
no,
for
but I
twenty
wouldn't be
thousand
cheering
dollars,
for him. Don't worry.
yeah, I'd be cheering for a miss.
Okay, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna cheer for a miss, but I'm not gonna cheer for a success. I'm gonna just sit there
Oh yeah,
quietly and
I
Oh,
got.
let
you're
Sean
better
take
than
the lead on
me.
that one. Like
Yeah,
that. You
you're better than me. I got to scream that in the warm up room in Turkey, like cheering when Nick Manders missed his deadlift, so Sean Jin won.
know?
Like, bro, like it's a sport. I don't
Yeah.
want somebody to get hurt, but other than getting injured, everything else, like, I'll
Oh
go
yeah,
protest.
100%, 100%. But
I protest.
maybe like
I
a callus
protest
tear
his
or something.
lifts.
A
Yeah,
callus tear here or there, that I wouldn't count that as an injury now, but like that
yeah.
happened, like I'll be fine with that.
Mix some chalk in their baby powder, like
All right,
whatever it is.
don't give them ideas now. Like just that's a secret right there. But yeah, all right. That's hopefully let's see what happens. We have a what is it, 7 weeks now, so not too much time to build, but I'm happy with how training's looking right now, anyways. So I won't need the tactical advantage like Manders like to call it. Hopefully I'm just strong enough on the day.
Yeah, you don't need. I mean, I'm waiting for the 800-pound pull. You don't need a tactical advantage because
Sure,
you
I mean
know
my bench is good, so like I don't need that.
that's true,
No
right?
shade, no
Right.
shade, no shade. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully I can put up I don't have any number. Actually, I do have numbers in mind. I'm not sure if I want to say them out loud, but hopefully I can put up at least a 200 kilo bench. I've been chasing that for the longest. The 200 kilo bench will be huge for me, but right now it looks like I'm on pace for it. All the numbers I'm hitting, I'm pretty good with like reps to one rep max calculation. So like I'm pretty bad at like triples and doubles on bench. So technically, like whatever I hit for a triple or double, I look at the 1 RM and I'm like, okay, I can solidify that easily. It's been the case for my, last 2 years of training. So hopefully that trend continues and I can hit this double I have planned at this block and, lead me up to that good 200 kilo on the platform. But yeah, that's I guess the only number I'll throw out right now.
Right.
Okay, so you're
We
looking
got
820.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the deadlift, and then somewhere around that 340 mark, I need to PR the deadlift. It's been over a year. Like it's sad. I haven't PR'd my deadlift since like December of that regional meet I did. So that's also a number I can give out. It's over 340.
Right. Okay.
And then
Listen,
squat,
everybody.
I want to PR as well because I only squatted 272 at only I guess 272 at Nats, and with the extra body weight, I am definitely stronger. Hopefully I can hit this rep PR with that same weight at this final week SBD. So, you know, hopefully
Okay.
runner comes up.
Okay.
All right.
Looking forward to
Yeah, we'll be
seeing the rest of your
looking forward
training
to
leading
that.
into Arnold.
Yep.
All
Just
right.
wait one more week. It's my week 3, and I got week 4 next Friday. So,
Okay. So
all right,
we'll
We'll
be
be
on
on
the
the
lookout.
lookout for a repost.
yeah. If
Yeah.
I see a post, it never happened. just like crop this out or something.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Well,
But
thank
yeah,
you
nice
so
meeting you
much.
guys. Yeah, thanks
Yeah.
for the invite again. And shout out to everyone that supports me again. And yeah, where do you guys post this, by the way?
So we're probably gonna post this on YouTube probably in like the next day or two, and then like on Spotify after that once we get the audio.
All right, sounds good. I'll be on the lookout and I'll definitely repost the link. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much for
Awesome.
coming
Thanks so
on.
much for coming on.
Yep, nice meeting you.